یه نامه سرگشاده است برای آقای پاتریک بت دیوید. I hope امیدوارم که درست پرونانس کرده باشم. حال شما انشالله خوب و خوشین. ببین آقای پت پاتریک دیوید، I'm not sure you officially changed this or is this the normal name that was from there, but here's the thing. Anyway, you know who you are, Mr. Patrick Bet David. Anyway, the thing is, I started watching you as a recommendation from a friend. I watched you a few times, maybe about a year ago, 2 years ago. It wasn't really my style, so I stopped listening less, watching less, because I feel, first of all, the reason for this open letter is that I wanted to share. Maybe you like to hear from some of your listeners about what they think, how you doing. From our perspective, from one perspective of your viewers, this is how I see the situation, Mr. Patrick David. I see that your views are a little top, a little, how should I put it? To put it in a nice way, it's a little common. It's a little common. Your perspective is a little common. But you introduce yourself to us as an intellectual. You introduced yourself to us in some of the shows that I saw. You have been introducing yourself as an intellectual, somebody who has read a lot of books, and that's what's you exactly reference that. Yes, I read a lot of books. Well, a lot of books. I think you said it a few times here and there. So I understand. Well, I don't doubt it, but for one thing, people who read a lot by the time they're age 18, people who read a lot by about age 18, where is the age to joining any kind of military force in anywhere in the world. By the time you're 18, you said you have read a lot of books, but I don't know of any at all people who have read a lot who would say at 18, after reading all this information, absorbing all the information, and understanding that how little information you still have and you want to accumulate more information, but then at age 18, after accumulating all this information and knowing how little we know of ourselves, you went to military service, volunteer military service as a job. I don't know of any intellectuals who will willingly at age 18 say, yes, I would like to go and hear that, you know, sergeant, three-stripe sergeant, who's your master in the military, the guy who's has three stripes is always your master. I know. I thought a fucking was a conscript. Everybody had to fucking go over there. But so you already know, if you have read a lot of books, you already know that the sergeant is going to be as hard as a rock. Nothing going on up there, not much. So wish you don't wish to join any kind of system in which a guy with three stripes, however rockish, with three stripes, can kick your ass around all day long, uh, and you know nobody cares because you're the conscript. This is what I was, but even worse than you, who was a job as a mercenary. So you basically went from I want to only books, I want to gather information, knowledge, you went into the military. Okay. And then right out of military, with a few help here and there, political connections or this and that, you got into business. Good for you. But here's what is obvious, Mr. Patrick. You, when you interview people, this is how I can tell that I'm not listening to an intellectual. However, smart and wise, but not an intellectual. There is a difference, Mr. Patrick David. In your Larry King was an intellectual. That's somebody who has read a lot of books. Larry King was an intellectual. And have you seen his interviews? He was an interviewer who was an intellectual. You're a boxer. You're a UFC champion trying to, pass as an intellectual. And you got the build for it. You got UFC championship. If you wanted, you probably could have gone that route. But as if to say that, okay, now I'm going to tell you how much I know. I see Larry King as an interviewer. He would say like a few words during all his interviews. He's just a listener there. Only a few words here and there. Most of the time, Larry King, his job was not to talk. به سلامتی. ببخشید رفت انگلیسی شد. کار لری کینگ این بودی که اصلا بشینه اونجا صحبت نکنه. How much of this was English? کارش این بود بشینه اونجا صحبت نکنه و بذاره guest interviewee just start talking about whatever. Once in a while, Larry King would throw in a word here and a word there just to nudge the conversation in a direction that he wanted. You come in there and you're trying to UFC the guy, and you have an idea and you're presenting your idea as the right idea. First of all, you will not find a single intellectual who will definitely stand behind their idea, because intellectuals know that ideas are dime a dozen. Ideas are dime a dozen, but so intellectuals know never to 100 bet the house on the fucking hand. They know intellectuals will not bet the house on the fucking hand. But the way you speak is like, no, I'm betting the house on the hand. In your, stern belief of that your idea is right. And based on that, you try to, اینی که ایده من درسته هستش و یه رو میخوای کشتی بگیری بزنی زمین که ایده من درسته، چرا نمیفهمی مرتی که آقا ببخشید respectfully با احترام کامل، ولی یه جوری شما داری با یارو کشتی میگیری که آدم بعضی مدت کوتاهی میگه بگذاریم حوصله ندارم اومدم اینجا یک intellectual conversation و یه intellectual صحبت رو گوش بدم. میخوام ویو پاتریک دیوید رو که اوردی میدونم کم و بیش where he stands، ولی ویو یارو رو نمیدونم. منتها آقای پاتریک دیوید بیشتر از گستش حرف میزنه بیشتر مواقع. It's sort of like okay, I already know what you think. Can we hear what به سلامتی. نتیجه اینه که آقا ما، البته میگم من ممکنه تمام اینا ممکنه اشتباه باشه، من ممکنه دارم اشتباه فکر میکنم، من ممکنه مجنون هستم، میتونه حرفم اشتباه باشه، نظرم اشتباه باشه، هیچم پایبندی به نظرم ندارم. You see this is how to distinguish. اینجا اونجاییه که شما قشنگ میتونی متوجه بشی آدمایی که you know intellectuals خیلی به جوابهایی که دارن مطمئن، با اینکه جوابهای بهتری نسبت به عوام دارن برای مسائل، با اینکه جوابهای بهتری دارن، ولی هیچ وقت they don't bet the house on their answers for their solutions for the problems. They never bet the house. But your attitude، شما رفتار شما جوریه که شما میگه yes I'm willing to bet the house، من حاضرم خونم و شرط ببندم سر این که این سولوشنی که من دارم درسته، سولوشن تو اشتباه. You take them to the ring. Will people return for a re-interview? You see what I'm saying? Will people return for a re-interview after a boxing match? They're coming expecting an interview. You don't have to pull punches. این شما نیاز نیست عقب نشینی بکنی از نظرت، ولی یه جمله میگی مثلا تو میگی نه اینطور نیست، اینی که شما میگی اینطور نیست به خاطر اینکه گوگل داره میگه شما در اینجا گفتین این، یا اینجا در اون حد تو مایی که یه دونه AI میذاری کنار دسته که تمام حرفایی که گویم اونی که داره صحبت میکنه رو 24 ساعت داره AI چک میکنه، قشنگ میتونه اون وقت اون میشه اینترویویی که آخرش یارو احساس نمیکنه تو باکسینگ مچ بوده. شما قرار نیست نظرتون رو به اینترویویا تحمیل بکنین یا کشتی بگیرین تا نظر شما رو قبول کنه. آقا نوکرتم. اوکی، این که یه دونه یه مشکل کلی گفتم، شما شاید نظر بینندگانم شما بخواین بدونید. بد نیست آدم بعضی مواقع یه اسکلی پیدا بشه بگه the king has no clothes. بهتره که یه اسکلی حداقل پیدا بشه دهنشو باز کنه که شاید شاید ما امیدوار نیستیم شما کلوزتون از دست بدین، امیدواریم بیشتر کلوز پیدا کنین، ولی بدونین این که پوشیدین کلوز نیست، یه جوری میتونین درستش کنین. میفهمین چی میگم؟ امیدوارم بیزنس باشین و بیزنس هم بهتر بشه برای سالیان سال، ولی what do you call it باید این مشکلاتتون باید رفع کنید. مشکل اول اینه که شما یه نظری دارین راجع به مسائل و you make sure که نظرتون رو در مدتی که دارین اینترویو میکنین make sure نظر شما هم مطرح بشه. اومدی اینترویو میخوای نظر اونو بشنوی یا میخوای نظر خودتو مطرح کنی؟ اوکی، در نتیجه اینجوری که آدم گوش میده بعد احساس میکنه که خب ببینم این بابا واسه کی داره کار میکنه که یه نظری اون وسط باید هول داده بشه. You gotta push an idea for what؟ آیا شما برای کسی داری کار میکنی؟ اگه برای خودت داری کار میکنی باز بهتره که آدم نظر خودشو هیچ کس ندونه. میفهمی چی میگم؟ به خاطر اینکه you can't be impartial. مثلا BBC این همه مدت تو بیزنسه به خاطر اینکه یه جورایی یه تکسی داره از ملت خودش میگیره که حرف راستو بتونه حداقل به ملت خودشون بزنه. البته خیلی مواقع حالا BBC های زبان مختلف رو درست کردن که بتونن با ملت های مختلف به زبان خودشون اون وقت اونجا رو دروغ میگن، اینجا رو راستش یواشکی به ملت خودشون میگن، اونجا رو دروغ میگن به زبان همون کالونی. زبان کالونیش خودشون بهشون دروغ میگن. anyway منظور اینه، ببین مثال دارم میگم این مصاحبه شما رو با آقای رضا پهلوی ما دیدیم. آقا ما مخلص شما و مخلص آقای رضا پهلوی. ولی ببین چیزی که دستگیر میشد این بود که همدیگه رو دارین چیز میکنین، با هم دارین تعارف میکنین که چجوری ما میتونیم اون مجموعه رو اونجا رو کلپس کنیم. That was the gist of it. چجوری میتونیم اون سیستم اونجا رو کلپس کنیم. و مثل که جفتی هم نظرتون یکی بود و با ما نظر شما رو هم شنیدیم، هم نظر آقا رو هم شنیدیم و خب دمتون گرم هم نظرین. First of all, as an interviewer, I don't think anybody should know your opinion. You see what I'm saying? Because that's the only way you can sell your impartiality. Like BBC, trying to sell your impartiality and lying, still lying. But the point is this: at least on the surface, to sell your impartiality, you have to be neutral. At least pretend to be neutral, so you can get everybody back for an interview. You see what I'm saying? You don't want you don't want a one interview wonder. You see what I'm saying? So you want to keep the golden goose so it can lay a lot of eggs. And for that you have to be many of these motherfuckers are lying. Yes, you want to get the truth from them, provide them with ample liquor. Whatever liquor, the best liquor in town has to be available at all time at wherever you interview people. You liquor them up and then you set them in front of the fucking camera, because that's when you get the truth. Now you want to join them in the liquor, you probably have to build a strong liver if you have to, because this is what it takes to get to the truth. Liquored up people, with them you get to the truth. So instead of trying to box them, instead of trying to wrestle them to come to your point, that's not your job. As an interviewer, that's not your job. To trying to wrestle them so they come to your understanding. And sometimes the guy, the Jewish guy next to you, he joins in, and both of you now there's a tag team of wrestlers, folks. I mean, good people, you're good people, but this is an intellectual endeavor. This interview business is an intellectual endeavor. Most intellectual بیشتر آدمای چیز فهم بیشتر میشنون تا حرف میزنن. اصلا هم درست گفتم، طبق شروع این صحبت هم گفتم، به خاطر اینکه آدمای اینتלקچوال اون نظرشون میدونن که هیچ وقت نمیتونن شرط بندی بکنن خونهشون رو نظرشون. هیچ وقت، یعنی با اطمینان نمیتونن، با اطمینان نظر نمیدن هیچ وقت. آدمای چیز فهم میگن آقا 99%، 98%، well, probably 95%. I should be right. ولی وقتی خیلی شما و امثال این خانم چی اون خانم محترم علی نژاد، مسیح نژاد، something نژاد. I remember that because I'm نژاد. So ایشون هم همینجور مثلا ادای سودو اینتלקچوال، ادای اینتלקچوال. البته حداقل شما خودتون رو اپوزیشن حساب نمی‌کنین، اون یکی خودشو اپوزیشن حساب میکنه. And I got a cousin interested in a lucrative endeavors. Are there any? Do they want any more? You know, prominent opposition. If the job is open, I might apply. But there are many others like me would like to, would like to apply for a job of being in opposition to the government in Iran. I also like to apply and, get paid for it. But the thing is, I heard you a few times, you and your guest, Mr. Reza Pahlavi, use the word collapse as if to say, uh, as if to say that this collapse is a solution to the problem of Iran. Are you sure? I mean, have you had anybody from Libya in your shows, Mr. Patrick Bet David? Have you recently had anybody from Libya who just been there like 2 months ago? Anybody from Iraq, Somalia, the fucking Yemen, that fucking Arabs, any of them? Street people from Saudi Arabia. Have you had any on your show? Or street people in Iraq? Have you had any? So these places that, you know,